Welcome back to Sage Connections. Today, I'm joined by Bruce Wahl, one of the top players in the world of bike polo. We'll be diving into the fascinating intersection of sports performance and sports psychology, exploring what it takes not only to compete at the highest level, but to build the mindset that fuels resilience, teamwork, and winning under pressure. Whether you're an athlete, a weekend warrior, or just someone curious about how champions think, this conversation is packed with insights you won't want to miss. Enjoy. For listeners who may not know much about bike polo, which I was also just introduced to, can you share a bit about the sport and your journey to becoming one of its top players?
Sure. Bike polo is a sport that was invented in 1999 by some bike messengers. It was like a crude, rudimentary version of it. Um, Fast forward to about 2010 is when we established a governing body. And then shortly thereafter, there were some rules involved. And then the game kind of took off after that. It's a 3v3 sport. We play on like a hard court surface. It flows a lot like hockey. So it's called bike polo, but I lovingly call it bike hockey.
I definitely see
Um,
that.
yeah, yes, it flows a lot like hockey. We have sticks. We shoot the ball kind of like you would do a slap shot. We have nets on either side. Um, and I've been playing for 14 years. Um, uh, Found it from being a cyclist first and foremost. That was my passion at first, and it filled a void that I had that I needed it for competition.
Yeah, it's really exciting to watch. So I just watched your championship, North American Championship, and it really was very exciting. It's the first time I've ever heard of it or seen it, so it is fun. So if you see any of this in your neighboring town, wherever you are, go check it out because it's pretty fun. So when we're talking about athletes, so many athletes talk about the mental side of competition being just as important as the physical. And for you, what percentage of bipolar performance is mental versus physical?
It's hard to put a percentage on it, but there's a definite marriage between the two. I find that at the stage that I'm at, and perhaps maybe the twilight of my career, it is more mental than it is physical because I feel like I've gained most, if not all, of the fundamental traits to become like a high level competitor. So to get to the ultimate next level to win as many tournaments as you can, North American championships, world championships, it's mostly mental for me at this point. But when you first start off, I'd say the first year 1 to year 5 is building up all of the fundamental abilities, skills, and it's hard to think about the mental part of it. It's mostly just trying to survive. You're kind of in the sort of like caveman era of your journey. But there's a marriage there, a definite marriage. For me, it's probably, if I had to put percentage on it, it's 50-50, like I put a lot into my body, um, my fitness, which in turn helps with the mental. So when you can combine them both, um, that will put you on the path to success.
Yeah. So what do? You work out at the gym, you lift weights, you do breath work. What kinds of things do you do to prepare mentally and physically?
Yeah, so my workout regimen consists of probably working out in the gym 4 to 5 days a week, as well as playing pickup, which is like our version of practice, 2 to 3 times a week. Also, my nutrition is a big one. I'm 43 years old, so it is important for me to stay on top of that. I feel like if I eat a piece of bread, I gain a pound. So merging all three of those is super important. A lot of weightlifting, cardio. I commute all the time via bicycle, so I'm always on a bicycle. I'm on a bicycle at least 2 times a day. My commute to and from work, plus what I do with bike polo, plus just like for fun, going on a ride or commuting to pick up groceries, etc., so on and so forth. Um, And obviously I'm playing the game in my mind all the time as well. Like I'm throughout the day, it's like I'll think about certain scenarios I either need to work on, or moments where perhaps I've failed in the past or where I succeeded. Visualization is just as important to me, I think, as the fitness aspect, the training aspect.
Do you do any meditation, anything like that?
Because of my partner, I have been participating in access bars, which is like a modality where she touches different temporal
Mhm.
parts of my head, and I would describe it as more of like a guided meditation, which I think, Luba, you have some experience with that,
Yes, so we actually had Natalie on an episode, which is on Instagram. So if you want
brilliant.
to check out that more in detail, she's amazing and she really goes deep into that.
Amazing. Yeah. So leading up to the North American Championships, which you were at, it was lovely to meet you there as well. I participated in a once a week access bars session, an hour session for I think it was 2 months straight, and it was super beneficial. I wouldn't say that I'm like a skeptical person about like um, what would you call that? More like it's not
Oh, like
Western medicine.
alternative modalities.
There you go.
Yeah.
Alternative modalities. I'm not skeptical, but I was like, oh, let's just see what this does. And I've seen some great benefits. I specifically in those sessions would key in on and think about um, moments in the sport that have brought me a sort of pause or a sort of like physical reaction when I think about them, maybe like a little bit of anxiety. And through thinking about those during that process, I don't receive that sort of physical charge anymore. So that sort of like guided meditation, that modality has really helped me mentally. Um, and like I touched on a little bit before, I wouldn't say constantly, but oftentimes I'm thinking about the sport. I'm visualizing the sport. And those visualizations are often about opportunity areas, areas where I think I need to work on. And I'm constantly visualizing, like, what do I need to do to succeed here? A lot of times I know, but it's like if I visualize it, see it in my head over and over, it's almost like physical reps. So I've been participating in that for the last couple years, where I think before I thought maybe just my talent and my physicality would get me through the game in itself.
Which is fascinating to hear that because when you guys were playing, what was interesting to me is that most of the games you guys were you guys were sort of the underdogs in the sense that you were down on the scoreboard to begin with, and then you would smoke the team kind of, a quarter of the way through, you kind of started building more momentum, which was very interesting to come back. So what goes through your mind, um, when you guys are down as a team, and how do you get past that? Because a lot of people just break under that kind of pressure, like, oh, I'm already losing, I might as well kind of, give up. But not you guys.
Yeah, and I've seen other athletes around me, other teams, even perhaps some of my teammates in the past kind of pack it in, as soon as things are going south. In sports, they call that, front runners. When things are going well, they're going well. When things aren't going well, then it's bad. Um, I think it's just after many years, um, specifically after winning a lot of tournaments, it's like the rich do get richer a little bit, but even before the big wins, I think I had a profound sense of just belief that we can get it done. Even if I felt that belief and it didn't happen, I still kept it. Um, I think for me specifically, when we get down, if I'm playing with a team that I know maybe some people don't have as sturdy of a belief as I have, I try to look around and be like, it's fine. It's okay. There's a lot of time left. And it's a sport. I grew up watching sports. I've seen so many comebacks. I've seen miraculous comebacks. It's just like one or two goals is nothing to me. So um, I think it's the profound belief in oneself. I think it's believing in all of the training, the hours of fitness, all of the work that you put in. You know that, especially when you know that you've done more than most, that really helps. It's like you can tell sometimes, when you're playing against someone, you're like, I've trained more than this person. And even if we're down, like I have I have more stamina. I have more strength. I believe that we're going to get this done. Let's go do it.
Do you ever get nervous?
I, in year 14, I don't really get nervous anymore. Um, it feels like everything's gravy from here on out for me. I'm a three-time North American champion, and my goal when I first started this thing 14 years ago was just to have a chance to win one. That was my goal. That was like my dream in the sport. I just wanted to win a North American championship. I didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know if I'd land on a team where we would have the chemistry and the flow together. And then, we did it in 2017, and then we've done it two more times. So everything beyond this to me is just a bonus. I'm having fun. I love the game so much. So I don't get much anxiety for playing something that I love this much and that I've done so much in.
Awesome. So speaking of flow, you kind of mentioned flow. Have you ever experienced that flow state in bike polo when everything just kind of clicks together and you guys click together? What do you think triggers, if you do experience that, what triggers that in you guys as bike polo athletes, but also in general? Like, what do you think that is for athletes?
Oh man, I think for athletes, any kind of athlete, um, and I can only speak for myself. I mean, that's what you're seeking. I mean, you can go out and have good tournaments, good games, whatever it is that you're playing. But it's different when you get in a flow state because that's when you have great games. And for me, I'm always searching to find that flow state in the most important games day, the final day of a tournament. That's when you can get it. And I have experienced it, and it's just the best. And that's what you're searching for. And I think for me, and I know I've heard my favorite athlete of all time is Steph Curry. I've heard him talk about it, and sometimes it's about seeing that first shot go in. And for me, how it's operated is in a game, I'll take probably like my first or second shot, and it's a good one. It goes in, it felt good, and all of that is like the culmination of like my mechanics, my strength training leading up to the tournament, my fitness, and it's all culminating together. It's all becoming one. It went in right away. It felt good. And then maybe the next, and then, you put one in, amazing. You're up early. Next time you get the ball, the next shot's either on net or in or close. And it's like, oh, okay, we're locked in now. And then once the third shot comes and you're getting the same result, and then it's just profound belief. Everything becomes instinctual, and then I'm just shooting. I'm shooting. No one else is there. I'm seeing windows. I'm seeing defenders, but it's just nothing comes in the way. It's a sort of a feeling of there's no barriers anymore. I've got this. I understand these defenders, how they move. I'm manipulating them. I have a window. It's when I'm shooting, it's either going to go in or it's on frame. And I do believe it's from years of reps, um, success, and the culmination of hard work and sacrifice.
Yeah. I'm a pickleball player myself, so I'm always looking. So I've had those days where I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so good at this." And then the
Yeah.
next day I'm like, "Okay, I lost every game." So I'm always looking to harness that flow state because when it's there, it's beautiful. And then you have the best day, you have the best week from there on out.
If only we could bottle it and
I
harness it.
that's all I want. Is that so hard?
It's a beautiful thing, and it is one of my favorite things of sport.
Yeah. Um, so distractions. Distractions are inevitable, right?
Yeah.
Do you have strategies to help yourself and your team to refocus quickly when you get frustrated, when there's mistakes, when there's, even accidents, when we were watching that game and one of your teammates collided with another and it was a frustrating situation. So what do you guys do to kind of get down from there and refocus?
I think when I think about like distractions or frustrations, I often think about this mantra that we say here at Minneapolis Bike Polo, and also my teammates also believe in this, and we always talk about having a goldfish brain. So it's just goldfish brain. Something bad happens, maybe you did it yourself, maybe it was one of your teammates. It's just there's always the next play, and then there's the next play, and then you add up all of the next plays. There's always a next game. Maybe you had a bad game. There's always another one down the road, and maybe even a next tournament. I've been playing long enough that I've had tournaments where I'm like, that wasn't my best tournament, but I know there's comfort knowing that there's a next one. And then, as we count backwards, there's a next game, there's a next play. So you cause a turnover that may cost your team a goal. It doesn't matter. It's gone. What's done is done. So I think harnessing the idea of a goldfish brain and then sticking to that, it really pays dividends. Water off a duck's back sort of thing. I've always kind of been that way. I try not to live in the past. I'm a kind of always forward kind of person. I do believe that. I'm a really profound guy that I used to work with. He used to always say forward, and that always stuck with me. So bad things happen. You can always go forward from it.
Yeah, like the Dory principle, just keep swimming. Is
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Yep. Sometimes you gotta tread water, but keep swimming.
yeah. So collectively, how does the team have mental toughness? There's obviously different personalities on the team and different, not so much positions, I suppose, but it seemed like some people were kind of better at offense, some people are better at defense. How do you guys build that trust, that communication to kind of build that mental toughness as a team?
Man, that's like a multifaceted question, but I think off the court, it's a lot of hanging out with each other, breaking bread with one another, being brothers and sisters. It is a co-ed sport, so doing things together instead of just on the court, it goes a long ways. The first team that I played with that I experienced great success with, we were the best of friends, all four of us, and we hung out all the time. Dinners, travel, cowboy camping together. We ride our bicycles and sleep out in the woods in the North Bay of San Francisco area. So doing that stuff is super important. It's really hard just to come together on the court if you don't have some sort of chemistry and connection outside of the court. But I think building the confidence and stealing your resolve together on the court is from leadership. I do believe that everybody looks towards a leader, and our team, has a great leader in Andrew Wayland and myself. Both of us have been playing together as a duo for a very long time and have played on two separate teams and have accomplished great things on both of those teams. So being resolute, resolved leaders will steal the resolve of the rest of the team, and they'll look to you and they're watching you. So it's about doing the right thing as best you can most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what makes, if you look at any other sport, they're only as good as their leader, right? Like even if the team themselves is sort of, it doesn't have a million star players, but they'll work together for, I'm obviously in the Metro Detroit area, so the Red Wings, growing up with the Red Wings, I mean, everyone looked at Steve Yzerman as, this leader. Everyone respected him so much and played for him as much as for themselves, and us as a city. And it was such a beautiful thing. So yeah, I get that.
I remember we connected on that because I was kind of a Wings fan growing up for whatever reason. I love Sergei Fedorov, and I knew about Yzerman. And the thing about Yzerman and other great captains of teams is that they can also demonstrate their greatness to their players. It's hard to ask for greatness and for hard work from players if you can't demonstrate it yourself. So captains and leaders have to be able to demonstrate that they can do everything that they're asking for their fellow teammates.
Yeah, which you definitely, I mean, watching you on the court, it was, yeah, like you could just tell everybody respected you very much. Everybody respected your seniority, your experience, and was able to follow you and Andrew as well. And so it you could see that when watching other teams, it didn't feel as kind of cohesive sometimes. So it was just nice to see, to your point. Have you noticed some players carry themselves more with more confidence or presence and do you think that impacts the kind of the psychology of the team, if you carry yourself a specific way, stepping out onto the court, does it change the result?
Yeah, and I think that kind of ties into what we were talking about with like leaders and captains. But if we want to like expand on that, I would say that walking out on the court with supreme confidence is also noticed by your opponent. And if your opponent notices that you're confident and you're fit and you're strong, they might have like an oh shit moment, where it's like, okay, these people are ready to play. They're not messing around. You can tell they put in the work. They've got a lot of times they've got confidence because they've done a lot and they've been there. And so if you can kind of get, if you can, if that's permeating from you and your opponent can feel that, that's already somewhat of a small W for you. Things might be a little bit easier. They might give you a little more space because athletes are like sharks. They can smell blood in the water, but when they hop in the water and they see that they're swimming with a shark, it's only going to help you. So having that confidence obviously helps you and your teammates do great things, but it also can strike fear into the opponent.
Yeah. So failure and setbacks are obviously huge teachers, not just in sport, but in life. But can you share a moment of loss that shaped your mindset kind of the most when it comes to competition?
So that's a really tough one. I don't have like a specific moment. I do know of like tournaments where I'm like, I didn't play that well, like what's going on there. Some of them, as I age here in the sport, I've had some tournaments where like I have landed in the city that I'm playing in. I'm nursing an injury. The first time that I'm playing post injury is like that day. I'm testing it out, and I've kind of played through some stuff, and I didn't play that well, and those always really put gas in my tank for the next time that I play because there's nothing I can do in the moment. A lot of times I'm not able to be in the gym because I was nursing like a rib injury earlier this year that just made it impossible for me to to train. Um, and so when that happens to me and I haven't played my best, to me that's a bit of a failure. Some of that's like I could have maybe been on like the stairmaster a little more or ride my bike a little more if like ribs are out of commission. But I think I can do other stuff. I know that. I know when I haven't prepared at my utmost, and that is a failure in itself. I think one of the concepts that I've learned about myself is that I am my own harshest critic, but in a constructive way. So I'm very good at noticing when I've failed something. Maybe it's failure through nutrition. Maybe I went a little ham over the weekend, and I'm carrying around an extra couple pounds. That usually gets me back on track. That usually puts gas in my tank of motivation, and I almost 100% of the time come back better. But as far as like failure and winning is concerned, I think what has helped me through the years is I don't get too high or low on a result. Um, I I am content with my result, and I know um, that might be confusing for some listeners or maybe other athletes. But I believe that through whatever win or loss, that's what you've earned. If you lost, you just didn't play well enough. It's not the ref's fault. It's not your teammates' fault. It's not, you know, it's if you won, you did what you needed to do. If you lost, you also did what you needed to do, which wasn't enough. So through that sort of mindset, I've kept sort of the word failure there's I've kept it out of my mind for the most part. When I think of failures, I just think of what am I doing in my everyday life in terms of training and nutrition. But the sport, I believe we get what we deserve.
Yeah, so it kind of fuels you in the end, like when you don't get the positive result that maybe you're looking for, that you're hoping for, it pushes you forward. Yeah.
Yes.
So on that note, how do you keep motivation high through 14 years of a sport? Like, how do you avoid burnout? How do you stay competitive and continuously push yourself, not just past, sort of disappointments, but in general?
That's a great question. That's one I've had to ask myself. Um, I think last year I, w- I embarked on the beginning of the season in a tournament in Mexico City, and I had other things going on in my life that I loved very much. Um, and I was like, I don't feel like I'm spending enough time doing those. And do I love this sport anymore? That was in my mind. And we were playing this sort of legacy tournament called Santa Torneo, and they do it every year in Mexico City. We went on this amazing run with some brilliant teammates, and we ended up winning that tournament. And at the end of the night, my teammates were celebrating off the side right after we'd won, and I moved over just to like take it all in. That's one thing I've learned from winning a decent amount of tournaments is to like bask in it, live in it a little bit because it goes so fast. And I downloaded this like idea of not playing the game anymore, and I was moved to tears. And it was in that moment I knew that I still loved it. So keeping the motivation for me is like knowing that I still love the sport. I think once I don't love it anymore, I'll know, and then the motivation is just gone. But I think to help love the sport, I also need to fill my life with other things that I love. With my teammates at large, I play with other people here and there. I've always told them, and new players, specifically new players, to tell them this. They're like, how do you get good at bike polo? How do you be well rounded in it? I'm like, do other things in life. Be balanced. So for me, it's like doing other things that bring me joy and love. I do illustrations. I'm always doing that. I'm big into just riding my bicycle in general. So I'm doing that. I love film and music. So I'm doing other things that take me out of the sport for a little bit because I do believe you can't love something if you don't miss it a little bit some of the times. So as I've gotten older, I've cut down my amount of play time, repetitions, and I filled it with cross training, other things that enrich my life, stimulate my brain, stimulate my heart. And I think that really has helped me enjoy the sport for longer and massively avoid burnouts because I see a lot of people, usually fledgling newer players, year 5, 6, 7, they're very much in love with it and they're playing all the time. And I see they don't know they're burning out, but I can see it. And I always try to tell them, hey man, just take 1 week off, just take 1 week off. Trust me. So I've gotten better at taking some time off too from the sport, let my body and my mind rest. And I think that's really extended my career in bike polo and has helped further along my love for the sport.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great advice in general, whether it be, working on a business or whatever it is. I mean, you can burn out on your favorite thing, whether
Mhm.
it can be music, it can be whatever it is. I think if you don't have the balance of other things, and like you said, like to miss it a little bit, um, can put you in that spot of burnout and or taking it for granted sometimes too.
Totally. Taking it for granted is I think a big one for people that are drinking a sport or anything like you said, maybe even a cereal or a food or anything through a fire hose. It's just
Mhm.
all the time, all at once, and you take it for granted because it's always there. You need to step away from it a little bit to see the forest for the trees. And yeah, it's like you can't, if you ate the same cereal every day for a year, you're gonna get sick of it, while
Yeah.
somebody else would be like, how could you get sick of that? That's a great cereal. It's like, well, I don't know, man. Maybe eat some toast for a week,
Right, right,
and then
exactly.
come back to it. So yeah, variety is the spice of life. All the other slogans, you can put anything in there, but I think just in general, as humans, do other stuff. Come back to the stuff that you love, though, but do some other stuff.
Fantastic. Wonderful. This is a great point to end on. Do you have anything else that you want to add for anyone that's listening?
Man, I think just like I said before, always move forward, always go forward. And for me, that's about personal growth. It's about building skill, leveling up. I'm a bit of a nerd. I used to play role playing games growing up. So for me, like life, you have this one vessel, you have this one body. Why not get better all the time? And age is just a number. Keep doing the things you love and be righteous at it.
Wonderful. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bruce, for being here. This was a great conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you to Bruce Wahl for sharing his insights and experiences with us today. And thank you all for tuning in. I hope this conversation inspires you to think about the mental side of performance, whether in sports or in life. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave us a review. Until next time, take care of your health and your wellness.